Hi everybody, this is Sam with Best of Vegan, and today I'm here with Yandu and we're going to make a veggie fried rice. Veggie fried rice is something I do very often in my home because it's typically a little bit quicker, a little bit easier, but still full of nutrition because I got some real veggies in here. So we're just gonna cut off the florets of the broccoli. The stalk is actually awesome, but a lot of people don't eat it. But if you want to chop it up and put it in your fried rice, it would be excellent. So we're going to make these a little smaller. Broccoli actually is my favorite vegetable on the planet, so it's always in my fried rice. But you can use vegetables that kind of rock with you a little bit more. If you want cabbage, cabbage is a great one, and there's purple cabbage, which gives a really nice color. And then also it's nice to mix some of the harder vegetables with the softer ones because they have different cooking times. We can start the broccoli a little ahead of something like the bell peppers, which essentially are fine just as they are, kind of more in their raw state. But once again, that's kind of up to you. I think that's enough for now. So that's our broccoli. I also love mushrooms in my fried rice. So we're going to take a couple of mushrooms from here. I like to remove the stems. Not everybody does. It's nice to use everything. I know sometimes if you're really creative, you can kind of take the stalks and blend it up into, I don't know, something that's kind of like saucy. But for me, I just cut them off. And now I slice the tops of these shiitake mushrooms. As you will see, I can do almost everything I need on one cutting board. And so when I have to deal with like fixing the meal for the children and like running back and forth with them, this makes everything very easy because I don't have everything all over the place. So we're going to take this bell pepper. I'm probably going to use about half, and you can cut it the way you want. I'll open this up, put half here. I take the seeds out. But there's no hard rules to this. You can actually leave it in if you like. It gives it a more like pungent type of flavor. I'm gonna cut this in half and then slice this up. I'm gonna keep them a little thick. This is my personal preference. You don't have to. If you want, you can dice yours. But I like this like that. All right. So before I get to the scallion, I want to get the pan started. We want it to start hot. So we just turn it on. We want a higher temperature so that we have a little bit of a crisp, a little bit of a crunch to the veggies we're going to put in. So I'm putting it on the highest one. And when it gets a little bit hotter, I'm going to put the olive oil and let that cook up. And when the olive oil gets nice and hot, I'm going to start with the more hearty vegetables. And actually, I really like cooking down mushrooms. So mushrooms I kind of throw in really soon after the broccoli. So let's put some olive oil. If you're measuring, you can do something like half a tablespoon or a teaspoon, depending on how you like to use oil. Sometimes people like things a little less oil, a little more oil. This is kind of how this is what keeps me happy, actually. And now it's going to get hot. While it starts to get hot, now I'm going to cut my scallion. Some people don't like to use the whites at all. I love the whites. I use everything from the ends all the way to the tips. And as I get to the more flexible and greener parts, I still use them. It doesn't matter to me. Sometimes some people don't. I love all of this. Voila, that's done. And so now I have my things prepped. Only took a couple minutes. I'm going to throw in the mushrooms first because I really like them to get kind of reduced and kind of very hearty. There we go. We have the sizzle. That's when you know it was the right temperature. Phenomenal. As that's going, I'm going to start bringing the broccoli over because broccoli takes a little bit of time to get to a place where it's easier to chew. And you know, if you're cooking for children too, they're always going to complain in some way about like things are too tough. So we want them to cook down a little bit. Let's do the last of this broccoli right here. Boom. There we go. And just take your spatula or your spoon and move it around a bit. Yes, look at those mushrooms over here. You see they're already getting nice and brown. That's exactly how I like it. But remember, you can do it the way you would like it. Maybe you like your mushrooms a little bit more soft or maybe a little less cooked, and you can put them more towards the end. Some people really do like raw mushrooms, and that's phenomenal if you do. As we're looking at the broccoli, they're beginning to get vibrant green, and that is the color you want to see. And that means soon it will start getting soft. And the reason I'm moving them around is because since it's high heat, it might stick a little bit more easily than if it was something low heat. So I just keep moving it around so that it doesn't stick to the pan. And non-stick pans do definitely help with this. I can already feel them kind of getting a little softer actually. It's really nice. All right. So that's going. I'm going to now add the red bell peppers. Oh, I got all of it. And here we go. Now bell peppers are good raw, so you don't have to worry about making sure if they get on the pan and get as hot as everything else. The most important part is actually the broccoli for that. But I love the way the red bell pepper gives color. And you don't have to be in a fancy restaurant for this. Like, this is how my kids like to eat as well. When things kind of look pretty, they're more apt to just gobble it up. So keep that in mind. All right, so the last that I'm going to use is the scallion. And this needs very little time actually, but it gives great flavor, great nuance, great garnish, all of that stuff. Now, some of you may have noticed I didn't use any garlic, I didn't use any onion, and one of the reasons is we're going to season these veggies with yondu, which basically takes out all that extra stuff that you usually might do. So chopping the garlic, adding salt, adding pepper, you don't need to with yondu. Now let's just move the veggies a little bit around. Last but not least, we're adding our rice. Now the rice was already cooked, so this is cooked rice. And cooking rice is so simple on the side, especially if a rice cooker. You just put it in and forget it. And before you know it, you have this incredibly nutritious, delicious meal, not just for you, but for your family, and took very little time. And now you can get back to doing other things. Yondu is really a great shortcut to make sure you can feed your family really well, but then also get to the work that's important, and also get to the work of just communing with your family and being with them. And those things are very important. You will love using Yondu because it just takes so much of the work out. This is beautiful. I really can't wait to eat this. All right, so this is basically done. I'm going to turn off the pan and I'm going to set this up and plate this for you. So I plated the fried rice, and I'm going to chop up this parsley a bit to place on top. I always do this. I love parsley on top of a lot of my dishes, especially on top of fried rice. And it's a nice, beautiful way for my children to get used to, you know, seeing and tasting and using herbs. There we go. There we go, nice. So I have it all plated here. And you know, like I said before, you can use the veggies that you like most, but it doesn't even have to just be veggies. You can also add things like kidney beans or lima beans or tofu or even like pumpkin seeds or even nuts, okay, like cashews. But this is how I'm choosing to do it today. So let's take a little taste test. You will love the flavor. You don't need to add anything else. Yondu carries it all. You're gonna love it. I hope you try it.